Hello everybody, this is Tim here again, here another movie review, this time for Fantastic Four, The First Steps. This movie's been out for a while and I'm just now getting to see it. But I gotta say, I really enjoyed this film. I thought it was really good. It isn't a perfect film. It is not a masterpiece, but it is a great fun time for what it is. From 1 to 5 stars, I give it a 4 out of 5. I really enjoyed it. I like that they made a period piece. Now, granted, this film didn't have much competition in terms of the other Fantastic Four movies, which have not been good. I actually felt like the one from 2015 had a lot of potential. That one that came out in 2015 had a really good amount of potential for the fact that it was going for more of like a David Cronenberg horror tone, but it was just a mess because of studio interference and whatever else went on behind the scenes for that one. But as far as this one goes, I'd give it a 4 out of 5. I really enjoyed it. I will say I've never been a huge fan of the Fantastic Four as characters. They're kind of like old school, like staples of the Marvel Universe, but I've never really been head over heels for them. Pedro Pascal as Reed Richards or whatever, he does a great job as the character, but the character of Reed Richards I've never thought is a great character. I've never felt like he was, but he is a good character. And in Johnny Storm, the actor does a great job for what he is given in this, and the character itself is good, but Chris Evans had more charisma in the role. He was able to have more fun in the role than this actor was, so Chris Evans was better than the actor we have here, but it's not really so much the actor, it's just the way the character's written. He just isn't as rambunctious and as fun for most of the movie as Chris Evans' version. Vanessa Kirby as Sue Storm, she's way better than Jessica Alba easily. The guy who plays the Thing here, he is better than Michael Chiklis. Even though I thought Michael Chiklis did a good job in those films, I do think the actor here is better because he gets more like, I guess, more cool action scenes to do is what I would say. And I will say though that in terms of like pathos and all that and like dramatic wise, it felt like the Thing in the original like Fantastic Four movie, or not, no, that would be the Roger Corman one. But in the one with like Chris Evans or whatever, the first one, I felt like he had a little bit more to do kind of dramatic wise. They kind of hint at the Thing having a love interest here, but overall in just terms of charisma, I enjoyed this actor's performance better. And I do think the Thing is kind of the strongest character of this film in terms of just like overall like charisma on screen and just terms of like interesting like ways to take like just in terms of like interesting dramatically as a character because of the fact he looks like a Thing and all that. He's just the most interesting of the Fantastic Four. And of course, you get the joke where he's talking about, no, I don't say it's clobbering time. That's just in a cartoon. And by the end of the movie, he actually does say, you know, it's clobbering time. And Johnny's like flying with him. And he's like, say it, say it. And he goes, it's clobbering time as he flies into Galactus. Galactus is the villain of the movie. We get the Silver Surfer here. They made the Silver Surfer female, or, well, actually, there is a female version in the comics that they decided to use here. The actress does a good job. She's perfectly fine in the role. Would I have preferred the male Silver Surfer? Honestly, I would have been fine with it. But changing it to the female version doesn't really affect the movie at all. But the fact that she's here, though, she does do a good job. I will say she pretty much disappears for the entire third act fight. She just shows up as kind of like a DX Machina thing at the last minute to stop Johnny Storm from sacrificing herself, or sacrificing himself so she can sacrifice herself instead to knock Galactus through the portal where they're going to launch him to like some outer end of space or whatever where he'll never be able to make his way back. So he won't be able to eat the Earth. At first, they're thinking about like teleporting the Earth away from Galactus to keep him from getting to it. And that doesn't work because Silver Surfer shows up there and starts like blowing up the devices and everything that they were going to use in order to do it. And she's there to like get the baby. And if you know the comics, you know Silver Surfer is pretty much spared because, or pretty much joins Galactus, so Galactus won't eat their planet. So I already knew where that was kind of going, like going into this. But I will say, like in terms of Galactus as a character, he's a good villain, and I like the fact that he's like basically a giant space god with a giant purple helmet. I like that about the character. But in terms of the character itself, if you don't know the comics, you don't really get like a huge lot of information about the character here. It's just kind of like, well, here's this giant, you know, space god. That's it, pretty much. But and he wants to like eat the Fantastic Four's baby or whatever, or Reed Richards and Sue Storm's baby because he realizes it's gonna have, well, not so much eat it, but like make it take his place basically. I guess make it like absorb the energy or whatever from his body, so he won't be hungry anymore and have to constantly eat planets. So it can basically take his spot on the throne. It is a little confusing, but you get it when you watch the movie. Overall, I'd give this a 4 out of 5. It was really fun. It's a really good movie for what it is for a Fantastic Four film. Easily the best Fantastic Four film, easily. But there's not much competition there. So, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you again.